2020 was one of the worst years I ever had to deal with. Matter of fact, I think 2020 was probably the worst year in human history, or at least modern human history. It cooked an entire generation. I mean, I think it mainly cooked Gen Alpha and Gen Z. Gen Z, a lot of y'all Gen Z kids had to graduate on Zoom calls. So you had to throw your hats. So you were graduating with your hats and your big gown on a Zoom call. That sounds miserable to me. That's like probably one of the worst things that like completely takes the moment out of graduating. You might as well not even show up, in my opinion. Then on the other hand, Gen Alpha or just the rest of Gen Z and Gen Alpha who were sitting on a call, sitting on Zoom calls, we did completely nothing. We would scratch our balls, not do nothing. Hold on. We would not do complete. We would eat outrageous amounts of food, get fat, or for me, I did not eat at all. I was not eating at all. I was just sitting on a because my school gave me like this iPad or computer thing, and I was sitting on my computer or iPad all day. I'll be on a Zoom call with the computer camera or the camera on me, or not really on me. It was like be above. It only showed like my forehead, and because I'll be looking down at the iPad, and I would just be playing Roblox or something all day. I believe that we were all bums during COVID. And some people say, I wish we can go back to COVID. COVID would be perfect because we can isolate ourselves again. Why would you want to isolate yourself? Remember, I don't think a lot of people remember when they threw us back out in the world in 2022, we pretty much didn't know how to conversate with people. We forgot how to communicate. We were dumb as shit at school because we spent a year and a half not learning completely nothing. We would learn stuff, but we weren't listening because we were spending our time scrolling on another device, or even just some people I heard were just scrolling on the device they were doing the call on. Um, then the teachers, you would have to do PE calls where you would have to put your camera up against something like a bed or some type of object. Like for example, this, and I have to start doing jumping jacks, sit ups, all kinds of craziness. Um, it was a lot of bad stuff that happened. I heard some kids, their teachers would try to would try to like even boss them in their own house. For example, one kid said they were eating on a Zoom call in their room. The teacher told them to stop eating. The kid's like, why would I stop eating if it's my room? Now I don't know what happened after that, but that's what he told me. I don't know. I actually need to get the full story of that because that's a very interesting story. But like I said, COVID cooked an entire, or I mean, 2020 cooked an entire generation. Without, I believe if we never had 2020, we would have been, a lot of us kids would have been a lot more social, like a lot more, there'll be a lot more extroverts, less introverts, because COVID gave us, a lot of us, an excuse to just isolate ourselves. So a lot of us just stayed isolated for like 2 years. When we finally got through back into the world, we didn't know how to communicate. It took us years. For me, it took me a year and a half, maybe two, to finally start communicating with people again after COVID. That's how much damage it did to my head. Because um it's we would have spent all of our time sitting at home, not doing nothing, not working out, eating or not eating. Not some people didn't take a shower, jerking off, just doing completely nothing. And then another thing about after COVID, when we finally got through back into the world was not the same. It's like if you compare 2019 to 2022 and beyond, or 2021 and beyond, it's like going outside doesn't hit the same. Events don't hit the same. I think it's because what we were doing during COVID, I actually don't really know. I don't fully understand it. We don't consume media the same. We don't look forward to stuff like a new album release. There's a bunch of new albums are released this year. No, but we would listen to it for a day or two, then we would move on to the next thing. It's like we all became, our attention spans dropped from this because we were already kind of low in 2019. It dropped from this, or it went from this in 2019 all the way to this. We don't like the media we consume, we don't really even try to oh wait, hold on. I have a brain fart. Um we don't even really try to even like let it what am I talking about? The media we consume, we don't really let it, merit. We just listen to the album or watch the movie. We can't even watch the full movie. We talk about it for a week and we move on to the next thing. We move on to the next thing. I think that's because TikTok. Now, TikTok is also one of the worst things to happen in 2020 because all you have to do, because people are stuck at home, all they do, they would sit on their bed or couch or whatever place they would be at, and they would just that's all they would do. They would do their stupid little dances, and it pretty much just created dropped our attention spans all the way down here over because this was happening. We were doing this for like a year or two, so it just dropped us all the way down here. So when we got out, we didn't know how to socialize. We didn't know how to. We couldn't listen to teachers correctly. We couldn't do anything. Then adults, on the other hand, adults they were getting. A lot of adults lost their jobs. A lot of adults I don't know if house. I don't really know. I was not paying attention to that. A lot of people were losing their lives. Um, so adults were bored. So you know what they started doing? They started rioting. Because this is the George Floyd thing. They started going outside and start rioting and jumping around because they had nothing else to do, nothing else better to do. But I mainly think, but at least the adults, they had their childhood. I think the main people that got cooked by 2020, by the year of 2020, was Gen Z and Gen Alpha because we didn't know how to do anything. But yeah, man, that's what I want to talk about.